Thanks for staying with us. So recently, an activist, Aisha Yesufu, said that your mother is the first person you should keep out of your marriage once you're married. Nigerians have reacted to this on different fronts. I would like to hear your views also, and would like to discuss it on the show. You can call us on 090-241-63440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your VTVC so we can read your tweet. So, do you agree that your mother should be the first person that you should keep out of your marriage? Based on what Aisha has said, many people, some agreed and some completely disagreed with her. What are your thoughts? Let me start with you.
Agree with her.
You agree with her? Okay.
Totally agree with her. I think that just like every marriage, there are only two parties to that marriage, and a marriage is for matured minds. So if you think you need to come into your marriage with your mother, you need to rethink marriage. It's not for you. If you come into that marriage with the rights of another person, very important in your mind, you're going to do a disservice and a lot of injustice to one of the parties of the marriage. And in our society, because of the role and the place where we put our mothers, especially religious-wise, in Islam, we need our fathers to clearly separate these two positions clearly. And I think that's where she's coming from. Because in Islam, the role of the woman, the mother of every person, is high. It's so high that people don't understand how to separate it in marriages, especially men. So God has said that your paradise, your attaining, goodness in the hereafter is under your mother's feet, and you must be kind to your mother. And it was emphasized 3 times. The role of the mother in Surah Al-Luqman, in Surah Al-Ahzab, I think, but I'm clear of the one in Luqman, where God emphasized how they suffered, how they had to carry you 9 months, win the pregnancy, and put that role of honor for them highly. Is clear. And just as a man has it, so does a woman. So when you mix it up and think, no, that means that your mother becomes a party in your marriage. That mother's right will always be an injustice to a party of that marriage.
Let me hear the initial thoughts on this. What are your initial thoughts?
Okay, my initial thoughts, with everything that's just the headline, it has different interpretations. So for someone like me who is mommy's girl, I'm like, what? I can understand making sure that your marriage is about 2 people and not having everybody have a right to, be part of it in such a way that it will be a disservice to the couple involved. But the first person out of my marriage, I think maybe the last person out of my marriage will be my mom, in such a way, in the way that we still need her guidance, we need her advice. She's done it before me. There are things that I could go back to her for. So not necessarily I'm smart enough, I'm old enough, I'm mature enough to understand to what extent my mom can, the role that she can play within my marriage. But
I found it a bit reckless for her to make a general statement that all mothers, or the first person that made generalize it that much. I just felt that because some of us have good mothers who have actually helped to build. So if somebody has had an experience of a bad mother getting involved in a marriage to destroy it, don't project that on everybody. Some of us have good mothers who actually their job is to help you to build yours and support and guide. My mother is one. It's not like I call her for every single thing. There's a time where we fight and I don't involve my mom. But there are times where I have an issue and I go to her and she just tells me hold her and helps me to build and get me. Yes, I go to her.
So let's separate it. Because if we're not careful here, we'll mix it up. You as her daughter go to her for counseling. It's just like you going to, I go to Antibimbo, I go to, but I go. I take the advice.
But that's not what she's telling us. She's saying don't involve.
This woman has seen, except you've not seen, I have an angelic mother. I can't even imagine my marriage without my mom. My childbearing without my mom. My issues have been through infertility, through my childbirth, through the most trying of pregnancies without my mom. But I clearly agree with her. Imagine that, and I know some strong-willed mothers. Okay, there was a marriage case I had, and I couldn't believe it. This man, over-honored his mom. And the mom never waits to understand why things will happen. So your wife is on the phone, and she's taking a call with her friend, and they're having a conversation. And the mother just gets 2 lines of that conversation. She calls her son immediately. I've told you this your wife. She's in the house. She brought the maid. She will call the maid. She will ask for questions. There are 3 parties in that marriage. Till the matter led to a breakup. They didn't believe it because the woman had trying pregnancies. She would say to her, even women, all these kind of women, how many abortions did she have? Now the woman had a child and she had ulcer. And so she had an ulcer attack after a CS session. Of course, you end up in the hospital, but you were there. You were on the phone, constantly telling your son that she's asking for money, that, you know, she's costing you money. And before we knew, you picked up a child saying that you want to earn your...
That's one situation. No, you're describing...
You're describing a type of person.
Yes. You are.
No.
Nima, when somebody calm down, hang it. No, I want to remind you where this conversation is coming from. We are talking about somebody saying that your mother is the first person you should keep out of marriage.
Out of your marriage. That general statement, apply it whichever way you want. Let your mother be your mother. She's not your wife. Clearly, see, there's no apology about it. She can never be your wife. But don't displace her role as a mother. Be eternally grateful to that. Separate the two and make the decision obvious.
Okay, fine. Point taken. So you are saying it in the role of the mother being... Based on what you're saying, you're saying where the mother is influencing her son. But they are, calm down, there are mothers who positively influence both their son and their mother. Where do you place that one with this statement? Yeah. Where do you place that mother? Well, how do you discard and discountenance the role she plays in building her children's marriage when you categorically say your mother is the first thing to take out of a marriage? Yeah. Doesn't make any sense. Yeah. My issue is the generalization. Yeah. There are wicked mothers, absolutely, but there are good mothers too. Let me let Mariam come in here.
So, Morai, I agree completely with you. And for what I see you're trying to explain, Nima, is you're describing a type of mother. We know that not every woman who has carried you in her womb is really motherly or nurturing. Some people have given stories of how their own mothers have been the reason for, breakup in their homes or things going bad with them because of bad decisions or just the way that woman is made or how she thinks. But we also have people who will tell you stories of how a mother has helped their marriage or has helped to build them up. There are some people I know, in fact, there's this particular story I know that her son was misbehaving in his marriage. It was the influence of his mother that turned him around. Imagine in that sort of case where you push that woman aside. Exactly. It had nothing to do with that.
Exactly.
So what we're saying is, of course, there's a difference between a wife and a mother. I mean, it's clear. We do not even have to debate that.
Yeah.
We know that. But what we're saying is that there's a role that she can play as mother in a marriage.
Okay,
as a mother to
let me take this call and I'll come to you, Nima. Good morning. Are you there?
Good morning.
Thanks for calling. You're live.
Okay. Good morning, ma'am.
Morning.
My name is Jose.
Okay. Welcome to the show. You're live. Go ahead, Jose.
I'm the first time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Hey, I've really enjoyed your show for a very long time.
Thank you.
Okay, concerning this case, I understand what we are saying. Like me, when I got married and my mother-in-law, I noticed, there's a difference, especially when she came to nurse the baby, the way she bathed the baby and everything. I was telling my mama, see the way he's bathing the baby. My mom said, if you can't stay there and watch her bathe that baby, go inside your room and lock the door. She took care of your husband, and your husband is alive. That is how they bathe their baby in their home. So let her be. There are actually some mothers that will help you. My mother helped me. There was a day I called, my sister-in-law came in, she left. He said, how many minutes will it take you to wash those plates? My friend, go and call. And with time, if I don't call my mother-in-law in a week, she will call. My wife, where are you? It didn't start like that. But my mom helped me to understand that if you so love your husband, you have to love everything about him. You have to be patient. And for me, my own experience, it worked out. There are sometimes I will be the one to tell my husband, please, can you just bring your mother? Let's take care of her.
All right.
If the distance is much.
Thank you very much, Jose.
So, yes.
Thank you very much. Yes, Nima.
So thank you for trying to be in the middle of a lot of issues that women have in their marriages. Mothers are mothers. As a son, just as a son can go to his mother, so can you as a daughter-in-law seek your mother-in-law's counsel over issues. Actually, when you notice that the level of judgment is of high standing, she knows that place where she comes in. But the moment she doesn't know the place and you are not wise enough to observe it, you're in trouble. So not all mothers, and because we are humans, even not all friends, not the line.
Now you are speaking our language.
No, I'm not speaking your language. You have not seen the best of it. So both of you are
changed
in
it
a
and
position.
said not all. You see, you qualified it, but you said not all. Initially, it was a blanket statement.
I still go back. Okay, let me reiterate.
Please.
Kick mothers out of your marriage.
Okay.
Distinguish the sides, the roles, and clearly stick to those rules. When it comes to issues that are to be discussed and agreed upon between yourself and your wife, you can ask around anybody, including your mother, for advice. But when it comes to making the decision, make the decision based on what you and your wife have agreed upon. Now,
okay, I
laid the foundation on the place mothers are, religious-wise, that's as a Muslim. And traditionally, mothers are matriarch of the home, they control the home, even into their son's wife, and the woman has to... Wait, let me finish. In the south where I'm from, a woman will get to a particular age before she makes idegbe in Esako. And idegbe means that you have now matured in the family, you have reached a role where you two are a decision maker. So you have to work your way up, and up until you get to that point, you are the mercy of a mother-in-law, whether her judgment is balanced or not. So if your husband does not know what he's doing and does not have a balanced judgment, you will suffer for years. Our mothers waited for years. I know a woman who said to her daughter-in-law, hold on a minute, that it is in our culture, in our family, for them to marry anyhow. And we always them will line up like this and be insulted all their lives. And she's the matriarch who could have changed this decision. But if their sons were mature enough to know this is wrong, and this woman has certain rights.
So based on what you said, there are two different... Hang in there. Based on what you've said, and I think I agree with you. Based on what you've said, there are two parts of it. There's a part of running our home. Is your mother involved? That we all agree never. Because you're independent, you're a mature man. But when you say, I'm having an issue, and I'm having an issue. Who do I talk to? I can talk to my mother. So we're saying two different things. You are saying the home as a structure. No, we agree. Don't involve, because my own mother, hang in there, I'm almost done. My own mother is not involved in our daily runnings. I don't go to her the way, do I cook rice today? Do I do this? I don't go to her for the best. I don't go to her to want to move to this house, want to buy this car. I don't ask her about those things. She's not involved in that conversation. The conversation I might involve her is where I am hitting a roadblock and I feel that this plan is not getting to me. What do I do? That's when I go for advice. Let me take this call and I come to you.
Advice.
So there are two different things, Nima. Let's talk to this caller. Thanks. Are you there?
Hello. Good morning.
You're live, Fred. Go ahead, please. Tweet, please.
Yes, I am calling from Calabar. This is for the very first time. I don't know your protocols of calling.
Welcome to the show.
Okay. Thank you very much. I really enjoy the dialogue that is going on there. I really enjoy it. It is quite unfortunate that in our generation today we are having children becoming wives and children becoming husbands. So they don't really know what are the protocols, what are the things that is needed to have a successful marital home. There is no how you will be successful in your marriage as a husband or as a wife without the knowledge of the people that were there before you. For example, the one that is very close to you is your parents and your elders. And now the topic before all of us now is that how to push your very mother outside your marriage. We should be very, very careful about what is happening in our generation today, because they are making us to shoot our moral standard from what is obtainable, what we are supposed to follow, and now to writing us to what is now creeping into our generation today. How can somebody on earth ask us to push our mothers away from our marriage? How? For the mere fact that there is somebody somewhere who had his own, because the person was not following the discipline of the parents, and now was looking for a way to run out and go out.
All right, Fred. Point taken. Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. So I started matter, how do we involve our mothers? And I think it's important that we make that clarity.
From the last caller's talk, I needed to say again, because I'm sure I'm making distinctions here. Your mothers are in your life for life.
Okay.
Your wife comes in at some point. If you forget her role, this is where you make your wife an appendage in her home, squatter in her home. Someone who has to, culturally in Africa, you have to bow to your mother-in-law.
You don't have to. I don't have to.
You have put America inside.
No, I'm talking about today's reality. I'm talking about today. Today's reality.
Auntie, I said culture now. I did not say what we have now modified it to be.
Okay.
I don't don't have to kneel to my mother-in-law.
Okay.
I have a perfect relationship now.
Yeah.
Everybody knows and respects,
Yeah.
the relationship. I have amazing siblings with my husband's siblings. But the role still has to be clear. In our traditional Africa,
Yes.
they will gbayawo sile ni. When they gbaye sile, you come in, they accept you into family.
Yes.
You will now honor family up and down. I remember my sister marrying in the West here, and we were kneeling down. Kneeling down.
Just
We
for
don't
the
do.
event, after that, they
No,
kneel down,
even after the event, you'll be kneeling down.
Yeah.
So culturally, that's what it is. Okay. And there's a place called Yawole, and I know that the people in Oyo State hold it very high.
Okay.
So those are cultures that if a man doesn't put small barriers there to protect his wife.
Oh yeah, we absolutely agree with you on that.
So
one.
when the caller was cleverly saying, how can somebody ask you to kick your mother out, not out of your life?
Okay, it's important that you clarify that.
No, I have been saying it. Since I have been talking, I've been saying it. Don't be
your
mischievous
mother
because
is in
I've
your
been
life.
saying
Let us be.
Just
Your
like
mother is in your life, but her role is
life.
mother. Not to be involved in the running of your home. Where we are, what we are saying.
What is dangerous?
What we are saying.
Is the dangerous line. So people are safe when you assume that we are safe when we assume some mothers are good, some mothers are not. Subtle, kind opinion, not sorted, can destroy marriages.
Oh yes, absolutely.
So the issue is not the mother. The issue is the man.
Okay. Well, it depends on how you look at it. Sometimes the issue is the woman.
It could be the woman too.
People who,
it could be
if
the
we're
woman.
going to talk about people who should not be in a marriage, in fact, in some marriages, the man and the woman should not even be in the marriage.
Exactly.
If we're going that way, we're just saying that everybody has a role to play in our lives as married people. Our children also have a life to play. There are people who will say to you, take your children completely out of your marital issues. They believe it, they follow it, but there are some people who have brought in their children in some of their issues when they speak about, so that children are aware of things that go around. With mothers, it is almost impossible. I don't know, except if you've never had a good relationship with your mother, except if your mother has proven over time, even before you were married, that she's a toxic person.
Yeah.
I do not even see how the moment I get married, I put a barricade immediately and my mother is not part of that marriage. My mom also, if we're just talking about, we're talking about different kinds of mothers. My mom recently came to visit, and there are things that I was doing that she thought, Miriam, should do this more for your husband. My husband would never have said it to me. No one would have said it. But if she did not mention it, but if she did not mention it to me, if it was that relationship of keep your mouth shut, I would not have gotten that advice. I would not have learned something that is due to improve my home.
Keep your mouth shut. Advice when it's sought. Now, mothers could even, live in the home, live with their children, and still know the place.
I agree.
So a woman or a man who's constantly saying, Mommy, yesterday even my husband, he was saying, and mother would say, when it was my husband time, we did not get, your father,
immature minds.
Yes. How many minds do you see the minds?
Nima, I have a story of a mother who was in her daughter's marriage. She saw the way her daughter was talking to her husband, very disrespectful. It was actually somebody's book I read. She was very disrespectful because that's how her father used to talk to her mother. Her mother, knowing that this my daughter, practically took this attitude from her father, was in the home and advised her daughter, "Well, you don't talk to your husband that way."
God bless her.
That's it. So she didn't say behind it that she not cite. She didn't seek her mother's opinion. She was going down doing her mother just called me, "Auntie, come here." Come here. She's intervened without being invited. And she told the objective was to build. So the point is that the point we are making, we agree with you that there are mothers who do that. Come and do that for all my children. There are those kind of mothers. That one is there. Those kind of mothers, you don't involve them. But if you have a mother who is a wise woman, who is a woman who has been through life and is willing to help you build your own marriage, that is value to you as a woman and as a man.
Value to you. Value to your husband as well.
Exactly.
As what?
As an advice.
Not as an appendage, not as a party to your marriage.
Nobody wants a mother to a party.
No, but if you don't draw the line from beginning,
she's even in the mother-in-law, she's an appendage.
Let me explain.
She's legally an appendage.
I remember clearly when I had my child, there was a fight.
Okay, let me pause you.
And I raised my voice. Okay,
let me take this call. Good morning. Are you there, David?
Yes, I'm here, Mariah.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Fantastic. Yes, I got you after many years.
We're glad.
Yes, Mariah. Now, because it's quite worrisome. you know, we're coming from different backgrounds. I need you to understand this. If you see, Yoruba people used to say that, if I need to say this, your background is quite different from Nima's, and I stand with Nima because I think I belong to that school, if you have to ask me. Because there was a time that my siblings and even my own mother, who loved me so much, they were trying to put her under their. I'm not saying she shouldn't respect or regard them. That's not the point here. But the point is that don't turn her to a slave because she got married to your son. There are things I won't take. Look, let me tell you, do you know that I was the one who actually rescued my wife from all those oppressions. Then now, because, and my sister, okay, look, I love my mother for one thing. My mother is a realist. At the point, initially, my mother never understood this thing, but it got to a stage that my mother respects opinions a lot. This is not a well-learned mother as such, but she has a sense of reasoning intact. My mother said, okay, you are, mother, mommy, it's me, so I'm only saying that they shouldn't turn this woman to a slave for me. I treasure her so much. She's the mother of my children. She's there for me to take care of me and these kids, for goodness sake. So when we now visit you, and then other siblings comes around because they are or you want to start treating them because the way they treat you in your husband's house. No, don't do that. So because of that, some of them turned me to their enemies. But mother is in good time with me. But she knows one thing. You know, if my mother wants to say anything as regards my marriage, she must ask me first that, okay, what do you say we should do this time around?
Okay, I think we get the point. Thank you very much, Mr. David. So obviously, we have to go on a break. And like you, after the break, we'll take this example. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. So we have to involve our Twitter viewers. So please, let's take a few tweets.
Bilikis Mafe says, I agree that our Islamic clerics need to make the distinction because many are confused and are infringing on the spouse's rights, not knowing where to draw the line. The mother's place is different from the wife's or the husband's. So Subdean Solution says, let the parents stay on their own and enjoy their own life. Consult them only when there is trouble. Build and grow your home the way you like it to be, not necessarily to follow your parents' ways of life. Let them stay out clear of your marriage. And I agree totally with Subdean. Toby Martin says, no human is naturally perfect. Every advice got its own effect. That's why you are, as a receiver, you don't really have to accept everything. You take some and leave some. Be wise to avoid conflict in your homes. Prince Ismail says, you always discuss about bad side of leaders and what is happening in the society, but I'm surprised that up till now, you guys are silent on your brother that put the gun in public. Okay, that's separate. Okay, Tolu says, I like the peanut butter spread from it.
Okay. Let me get Mariam's
yes.
Yeah.
You know, just before we left, you were talking about the examples that you gave about a mother and the role that she can play, especially when she like the tweet says, infringing on the rights of the spouses. But I'm saying that sometimes it's about the behavior, the bad behavior. You can stand up to the bad behavior of a mother. My mother is, you people know how I talk about her. I feel like she's the best thing ever. But if there are things that I feel that she's doing that are not good for my marriage, or that there are things that she's saying that may reflect badly on my marriage, I will step up to her. I will step up to her. But I have this good judgment. Where did I learn it from now? I learned it from the woman that has brought me up and, you know, all these years. But she has brought me up to the point that I'm independent enough also to make some decisions.
Yeah.
I will make
and you also
mistakes,
mentioned something earlier, Mariam, that's like, bad behavior is bad behavior. Either from the mother, from the
husband, from the children, whoever it is.
So why are we qualifying it because it's the mother or because it's the husband, because the wife? Yeah, it's a bad behavior, it's bad behavior. Let me take this call and I'll come back to you. Good morning, are you there?
Good morning.
Thanks, Paula. Calling from Ikeja. Go ahead, please.
I've always had this opinion. It's not very popular. That we are all human beings first, without the titles, without husband, wife, mother, daughter, son. We are all human beings first. And so if you're a good human being, inherently good, if you're a nice person, if you always have kind words for people, then regardless of whether you're a husband, wife, mother, or anything, you will reap the reward of being a kind person. If you're a miserable person, there are people that are just angry, sad, miserable. Life has not dealt them a good hand, and so they must infect others. Then regardless of your title, that is who you will be. I feel that in this part of the world, they're very sentimental. We're very, very sentimental. So you find a nasty human being, but because she carries title of mother, you want to involve her in where she doesn't even have the capacity to hold. I'm not even being specific now about whether she's a mother or mother-in-law. Some people are just horrible. And then you have some really kind people. But because some children have become too psychedelic, for their levels have risen, they want to abandon this very lovely human being who has raised them. That is the world we're in today. Whether you're a mother or not mother, if you are not a nice person, you will reap the reward of wickedness.
Fantastic.
And if you're a good person and they are not being nice to you, God will reward you.
Thank you so much, Bola. Thank you.
But I just feel as if you've been reading my journal, because you've used all the words I'd like to use often about just being, if you're a good person, you're a good person. As a wife, a mother, a daughter, a son, a friend. And good people do good things. Kind people do kind things. If you're a miserable person, if you're a mean person, you'll be mean in everything you do.
And going back to the issue of maturity, because when you're in the marriage, as you said, you have that the discernment of who is giving you bad or good advice. So even if you're a man or the woman in the marriage, and you involve your mother, to a certain extent, and you feel like, okay, what mommy is saying might not be correct. You yourself, because you're a mature person yourself, you should be able to discern. I know what is right and what's wrong.
Mischievous again, but no, seriously, no. This is not being mischievous. So what is good to you might not be good to your husband. So my mother can maybe be, and it's usually the decisions they make is based on what they experience in their lives. They don't mean bad.
Right.
So your mother who comes to your house with a book, forcing your wife to take it so she can have a child, it's a good used to solve her own in her own time. Right. And the people she consults also have a goal, and the end goal aim of it is to help your wife through infertility to have a child. It's not necessarily evil.
True. Very correct.
So based on their experiences, that's how they'll come. And because their experiences and their intentions are good, and you as a child or a son of your mother or a daughter of your mother was fed that boy your life, you'll be looking at your wife strangely. But the mother does not necessarily have control on all their lagbos in Nigeria, such that she will have a perfect solution, or you know the content of what they've given, and might be harming your wife. I mean, so allow your wife say, I cannot, I don't want, and But when you are so strongly, I know a tribe that I forbade to marry.
Don't say tribe.
No, I'm not mentioning them. I forbid myself.
That's not who use tribe. Let's not generalize.
No. This particular tribe, they have that custom.
Okay, let me
I stayed with them.
Let me come to Mariam if I take this call. Well, I have the hang in there, Mariam. Hello, are you there?
I am there.
You're live, Daniel. Go ahead, please.
All right. Good morning. I'm the first time caller. First time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Well, this discussion this morning is very interesting. And one of the things that, from what you have been saying, is this aspect of generalizing mother. There are good mothers. And I want to agree with you that the area that your mother is playing in your life does not have to get into your marriage. How and what did I mean? You see, there are good mothers, and there are mothers that is domineering in nature. They want to prove things that happen in their son's life, and wants to also use that influential to control the marriage. And for me, what I feel that is the right thing as a man in the home, you must be the one that will draw the boundary.
That's all.
Regulate your mother, and make sure it doesn't overstep her band. Because once your mother just come in and take over, you will not be able to enjoy the marriage. I can give you an instance of something that I did when I got married early. And the crisis was like when you give money out, when you do some certain things, it will become choky, because the demand is going to be high. And the new young lady you just got married to wants to understand you as the husband. But when the external body are choking you, as a person, you just have to pull out. So what I did is that I want my wife and I want to build my home. I make an edge around my wife and cover her. Any other external counsel and advice that want to take the home into instability, I cover it.
Okay. Thank you very much, Daniel, for that. Yes, Mariam.
You know, sometimes I'm just afraid of how we always paint the African mother. The African mother, she will raise you, and then when you get to a certain point where you are married, then she's the one you have to build a hedge around to protect yourself from. You know, I get that narrative, and it makes me very uncomfortable and so unfair. You can build a hedge around anybody who is bad, and if that woman has good intentions. So, like Nima was talking about, a person who wants your wife with good intentions to take agbo that, you know, the woman does not want to take. But we're talking of a woman who has good intentions. We're talking of a woman who has a mature mind. And then it means that she's the sort of person I can also approach to give her the reason why I cannot take this agbo. And I'm hoping, based on her maturity and her good intentions, she understands where I'm coming from. And says, okay, then no. What I'm trying to say is that she understands. She says, this is what I brought to you. But if you do not want to have it, it's fine. I get where you're coming from. But that would not be the cause of problem in my house. It will not be the reason why she will stop talking to me or asking my husband to be, to be angry at me. She would understand. She will understand that it's okay to disagree, but in an agreeable way, and to move on.
I live with my mother-in-law lives with me. I live with my grandmother-in-law, my husband's grandmother lives. They both live in my house, and I know that when they initially came, my mother-in-law did not understand taking custard in the morning for the children or quicker. I was speaking with for her. They're all artificial food. That can't they have proper breakfast before they go to school? I said, sorry, mommy, this is the quickest thing, especially in the morning going to school. That's what we can do. The quicker oats, drinking cornflakes, like they should eat yam. They should eat proper food so that they'll be sleeping. They'll be sleeping in school. I said, I'm sorry.
She's right, by the way.
I said no. I prefer them to have their quicker oats and they have their snacks, and that's what we do for many years before mommy came. And when it almost became an issue, my husband had to intervene. Mommy, leave her how she's. That's what she has chosen to give her own children. But you see, it now brings the role of the man. The men, in fact, yes, not on the fact we're going. The men now have to ensure that you are the one that protect your wife, but it doesn't display or displace the role of the mother as an advisor, because in hindsight, maybe I should be eating that kind of food instead of doing that.
She's right. Imagine what if she did it this way?
Yes.
What if she woke up earlier than you and says, this my daughter-in-law does not even get it, and she makes the thing early, and when they come down, they eat the food, and they go, you will not have a problem with it. Someone has taken care of your breakfast for you, and you have time to do something else. That's a solution.
But me, I personally would love that. This is how I see it. So there's a general rule, and to every general rule there are exceptions.
Yeah.
So the general rule is what Aisha Yesufu has said. Put the distinctions, put the pillar, distinguish the relationship.
She didn't say that.
That's what she said.
No, that's not what she said.
That's what you're implying. Or
that's not what she said.
That's what she said. She made a categorical statement.
It was generalization, and that's why I made it the general rule. You said generalizing.
She generalized.
You said that's what she did, and that's why I made it the general rule.
That's
she's a lawyer.
Put it down. Let your mother's place be distinguished from
no problem.
And play the role.
Yes.
You know about your angelic mothers like my mother. Still.
Yes, before.
So
my mother will not come and tell me what to do in my house.
We can be discussing the matter for 24 hours.
What she said is that
but it must not be the decision I force on my husband.
Of course.
Me. No, me now. Because we are not talking to ourselves, we are talking to viewers.
Okay.
Yes. You too, as a man, let your mother, the one that kills marriages, is that your mother not only reaches the advice, but calls her son and say, I don't know what your wife is doing. Do you understand me? I think you should go and deal with that issue. I don't want to see her do that again. She's not mean.
That's a wicked person.
She's not mean. She's doing it with all good intentions. But she's forcing it.
But the man should then be mature enough.
If the man not mature enough, can't love him mother pass him. Wife, what he go do?
That's not the
Now the wife because they suffer. You don't come because squatter. If you don't come, the wife don't become squatter for their house.
Nima, we've had
she don't change her papa name.
We have had these conversations about mommy's voice. We have
not the mommy's voice.
Listen,
that's across.
We've had this conversation actually about the role a husband should play when it comes to his relationship with his mother and his wife, or the daughter too. Her relationship with her family. And we have said that it's important that mature people get married. They should know what they want.
This last one.
Using Mariah's example of that food. If she had come and she had done that and you still didn't want it, you would have the conversation with her and say, please stop it. And she had the good intention enough to respect what happens in the house. We're talking to mature people. We're not talking to children.
Wait now. You get to make conversation. If you don't get to make conversation, okay, this one I will make. And let me just take the tweet.
Maybe it shouldn't even be in that family. Wait
now. Okay, me and my beg, take code here. Somebody is agreeing with you. He said, Sister Morayo and Barrister, you are saying the same thing. Assuming that you don't have a mother, you will live your life. Let mothers continue to play their motherly role and not command, but to advise. I wanted to make this example of the Omugo.
Okay.
So your mother is aged. She's tired. She's sick. She cannot do the work because Omugo, whether you like it or not, is a work of 3 months, helping the new mother adjust to motherhood.
Yeah.
But your mother said that because traditionally it's her role, and you do not want to displace her from her role because she will earn the money, you force her on your wife, who's just had this. Because she will earn money, they paid.
Wow.
I don't know about that.
You people should go and learn this culture. When we say culture, now people be saying you know culture. A mother who comes from Omugo, when she's going back, must not go empty handed. She has to show people in the village what she gained from Omugo. It includes allowing these rappers. That's customs that know the customs. People that know the customs. Okay. Let me finish. Okay. So now your mother comes because it is her role, and you must not deny her the role. But your wife is helpless.
Helpless, but who
help her to carry the baby? She just has CS now. The mother cannot carry. Your mother is actually sick.
Somebody else will do it.
Okay.
Mommy, don't worry. I will send it to you. You don't have
to. She was living abroad. Who will help her? Exactly. She was living abroad. What are you talking about?
If she was living abroad, that she has an auntie who can come abroad.
An auntie.
Now her sister will enter airplane.
Auntie is not coming. There are many people abroad that are having their children. No auntie.
So you see the problem.
Please. That's all we can take on the show. Auntie Bao. Please. Me, thank God I am the host of the show. Aisha Buhari cannot make a blanket statement that your mother is the first person. Please.
Aisha Yesufu, please.
Who does it?
You said Buhari.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, what did you say?
Yesufu.
Sorry. Aisha Yesufu cannot make a blanket statement that your mother is the first person you should keep out of your marriage. We don't agree. You like, some mothers are bad, yes. Others are good. Please, know the kind of mother you have and know how to manage her. Fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.